All right. So we're going to go ahead and continue finding missing sides to right triangles. This time we're going to focus in on finding the legs. And so, okay, so let's start with a right triangle. I'm going to draw a right triangle here.
Wait, we continue from yesterday?
Yes. Okay, so here is our right triangle. And let's say this is 12. This is 13. And this side we don't know. Go ahead and draw that. Well, we want to find the missing side. This is our missing side. And first thing we should always do is identify what's the hypotenuse. Go to the right angle. This is our right angle. And then just hop across. It's where the 13 is. Okay? And then these are the legs, 12 and the unknown side. So 12, do you want to make it A or do you want to make it B? Let's make it A. That means this is B. Okay? And so we have the Pythagorean theorem to help us find this. So I'm going to write it down. It says that A squared plus B squared equals C squared in this right triangle arrangement. And we're going to replace A with 12. So this is 12 squared plus B we don't know. So that's B squared equals C is 13. So 13 squared. Okay. And now we're going to square the numbers, multiply them times themselves. So this means 12 multiplied twice. So that's 12 times 12. It's 144. And then B squared comes down. And then we got 13 times 13, which is 169. Okay. So let's get B squared by itself. Let's get rid of the 144. So it's just subtracting 144 on both sides. And we get B squared equals 25. And now the thing is, we don't want B squared. We want to know the length here, which is 5. The square root of. Squaring that's going to cancel, or square rooting it will cancel the squaring, and you get 5. So B equals 5. 5 inches, 5 yards, 5 miles, whatever units we're measuring in. Any questions? All right. You guys ready? Let's try another one. Number 4. Let's say we have another right triangle. Something like this. Let's say this is 8. This is 6. This side we don't know. Okay. Go ahead and write that down. Let's see here. This time, well, let's continue with the same thing. Let's find C. First thing you always want to do is identify the hypotenuse. There it is. This is A, and this is B. Just kind of arbitrarily chose that. And let's use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's going to be, we don't know a, so it stays a squared plus 6 squared equals 8 squared. So let's see. A squared plus 36 equals 64. Thank you. And now we want to get a squared by itself, so let's take away 36. And so a squared is equal to, what's that? 28. Okay, this one's not going to be a perfect square, obviously, because if I take the square root to figure out what a is, we're going to get something, well, not scary. At least I know it's between 5 and 6, right? It's between 25 and 36. The two perfect square numbers 28's between is 25 and 36. So that means my answer is between 5 and 6. And it's probably a little closer to 5. So maybe like 5.4, 5.3, 5.2. Here, let's take a look.
I'm gonna take a guess 5.4. If I get 5.4, no wait, 5.2.
Yeah, about 5.3. 5.3, but 5.4 is a very good guess too.
No, it's 5.3 because if you round to the nearest tenth, then you get 5.3.
Yes. It is about 5.3. We'll go with that. Okay. So the answer here is 5.3. Now, let's get a little creative with this. Do you know what an isosceles right triangle is? It sounds scary, right? It's not too bad. Okay. So let's say I give you something like this. 3, 4, this is 5. Okay, I'm going to draw for you an isosceles right triangle. The two legs have to be equal. And of course, I didn't draw that very well. I'm going to draw two little sticks there. All right. So let's say this is, I'm just kind of thinking of a number. Let's say this is 6. We have two unknowns. Here and here.
Wait, that doesn't work then.
Yeah, the two legs are the same. So one of them we just figured out. It's 6. It's an isosceles, meaning two sides are equal. And these are the two sides that are equal. Now, if this is 6, then this has to be 6.
The little stick.
Because on an isosceles right triangle, two sides are equal. They're congruent. And the little sticks there tell you that. Okay, so again, we don't know C, the hypotenuse. So let's label this A and B, even though both A and B are 6. Okay, so back at A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And we'll replace this with 6 squared. Oops, wrong color. And 6 squared equals C squared.
I get rid of the 6. And every time.
Oh, 36 plus 36 now. 72. Yeah, it's going to be 8 point something, right? It's between 64 and 81. 8.5? That seems very reasonable. So maybe we have C equals 8 point something. 8.5 seems good. Let's just see. Remember, on your Chromebook, you just type in SQRT and then the number, in this case, 72. 8.5.
Wow.
So if the two legs on an isosceles right triangle are 6, then the hypotenuse has to be 8.5. Okay, so let's do one last question, one last problem. This one's going to be more of a like an application based. So number 6. So let's say you have I was looking at a Chromebook for one of my nieces, and she's taking an accounting class. So she needs the 10 key, the little side, like this thing on the side with, and because of the size of the keyboard, the screens are bigger. So they're 15-inch screens on those Chromebooks. Where do they measure that 15 inches? When they give you the size of a screen. But how? Which length? Like across at the bottom, you mean? Or at the top? Actually, neither. It's diagonal. Whenever they give you, yeah, because that has to be the longest side. So you think, wow, 15 inches this way, that's big. But if it's 15 inches this way, that means the other dimensions are going to be smaller. So let's say we have that 15 inch. Oh, if you could. Okay. Let's say we have a 15-inch monitor screen. I'll use the little. You're all familiar with the quotation for inches? And the length here is 12. We don't know the height. We don't know the height. So that's the part we have to figure out. Okay? Well, fortunately for us, we have a right triangle. You split a rectangle in half, you get two right triangles, which is one of the reasons this is so popular. Well, let's find the hypotenuse. Lo and behold, it's the 15 inches. What do you want to call 12? A or B? A. B there. And let's work this out with the Pythagorean theorem. We got a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we got 12 squared plus b squared equals 15 squared. So far, so good. So that's what? 144 plus b squared equals 225. 15 times 15 is 225. Okay. So let's subtract. And we get b squared es igual a 81.
144. Oh, it's 25. Oh, I wrote it wrong.
So we'll take the square root to figure out what b is. What's the height of that? Yeah. Nope. They'll say it's 15. Okay. So there you go. Okay. Okay, so the assignment today is another IXL, and it's finding, you'll find any of the links. It could be A, it could be B, it could be C. So it just depends.